YouTube recently deleted yet another one of our videos and gave this channel another strike. This is why all of the videos are deleted and new videos have not been posted for several weeks. YouTube deleted a video regarding the forced mandates and the Mark of the Beast system. YouTube stated that the video was medical misinformation and cyberbullying. The video showed several major cities around the world forcing the mandate, or you would not be able to buy or sell without it, work, go out shopping, and more, including your kids not being able to return to school. These video clips were shown in relation to the Word of God. Since then, many cities including Chicago, LA, New York, New Jersey, DC, and more, have forced such mandates, including several major countries. It is clear this is the start of the beast system. Videos will now be loaded and deleted within 24 hours, until all strikes have expired. Deleting our videos means nothing. Did you enjoy all of these signs this December, or do you need more? Deleting our videos stops nothing.
The views expressed on this channel are those of the video's creator, and not those of YouTube, Google, their staff, and/or affiliates. YouTube, Google, their staff, and/or affiliates shall not be held liable for the views, expressions, and comments made on this channel.
YouTube deleted the main Omega Watchman channel, stating that God's word in relation to current events is cyberbullying and medical misinformation. Thus, YouTube deleted the channel and 80,000 subscribers with over 20 million views. This is nothing and will not stop us. YouTube, do you honestly think by deleting our content and channels that it will stop the wrath of God? How silly. Attention YouTube. All of the clips used in this video are recorded directly from your platform, according to fair use guidelines. Further, YouTube has not deleted the videos of which the clips in this video are recorded from. YouTube has not labeled those as a conspiracy, medical misinformation, or cyberbullying. Thus, if YouTube deletes this video or channel, it will prove religious discrimination, as our content and channels are being deleted simply for putting the word of God in relation to these clips and current events. Enjoy the wrath of God.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.
Due to the mature nature of this content, language, and depth, viewer discretion is advised.
And this month, more than 100 were killed by a series of rare December tornadoes in Kentucky and surrounding states. One twister cutting a path more than 200 miles long.
The devastation is so severe across such an expanse that we still don't know the toll of the southern and Midwestern tornadoes. Starting the night of December 10th, at least 59 twisters carved through 10 states, a swarm you wouldn't expect 2 weeks before winter.
This should be where the story ends, and once did, until a wild and rare week of extreme weather struck in December. Tornadoes tearing through Kentucky and neighboring states, killing scores and leveling multiple towns. Entire communities left in ruins.
Mayfield will be okay. It's just going to be a long time.
Just 5 days later, an historic storm leaving a trail of destruction stretching from the west coast to the Great Lakes. Minnesota recording its first ever tornado in the month of December. As 2021 comes to a close, a country weary from a prolonged pandemic braces for what is certain to be another year of extremes.
Well, Chicago businesses have just about 2 weeks to figure out how they'll handle checking for vaccination status, but some businesses, they've already implemented the measure.
Earlier in the newscast, the city of Chicago will soon require proof of vaccination to visit restaurants, bars, and gyms.
Some in the restaurant industry are welcoming this new requirement, even if it means more work for them. Others are skeptical.
Elsewhere, in an effort to stem a growing virus outbreak, China has now imposed a partial lockdown in its northern city of Xi'an, ordering all 13 million residents to stay at home.
Russian President Vladimir Putin insists he does not want a war, but he's demanding immediate guarantees from the U.S. and NATO as Russia masses troops along Ukraine's border. In his end-of-the-year news conference, Putin said NATO allies need to promise they won't expand east. He's accused the West of bringing missiles and weapon systems to Russia's doorstep.
A powerful earthquake shook northern California this afternoon.
It was 6 miles deep in the Pacific Ocean. The 6.2 magnitude quake struck at about 12:10 this afternoon. It was centered about 40 miles southwest of Eureka. The impact was felt as far away as San Francisco and Chico.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
New proof of vaccine requirement is going to apply to everyone ages 5 and up who is eligible to get the shot. As you mentioned, it does not take effect until January 3rd, but it is likely to be around for several months. Going out to eat in Chicago will soon require people to bring not just their mask, but also proof of vaccination if they're going to be inside for more than 10 minutes. The city mandate in response to the concerning spread of the virus.
This new wave is seemingly more deadly than the last, spreading faster and causing profound harm. To be clear, I have not been this concerned about COVID-19 since the early days of the pandemic in 2020.
The mandate applies to restaurants and bars, as well as entertainment venues where food and beverage are served. That includes sports arenas, concert venues, bowling alleys, and movie theaters. Indoor fitness centers are also subject to the mandate.
These are the places that are the most risky places for spread, which is why we're focused on them. This order will remain in effect until the city deems that the threat of COVID-19 to public health has diminished significantly.
For some patrons, it's welcome news.
Washington, D.C. is ramping up on COVID-19 restrictions in an effort to control the record-setting daily number of coronavirus cases. Mayor Muriel Bowser announced yesterday that starting mid-January, people 12 and older will be required to show proof of vaccination to eat at indoor venues, such as restaurants, bars, and gyms, and to enter them.
Businesses are very happy to see this mandate eventually go into effect. You can include Chiquette and Slate Wine Bar in Grover Park among them.
I think it was appropriate step from the mayor, protects us, and I think she did it methodically.
Chef Denieto says it takes pressure off businesses who may have to deal with customers who disagree with vaccine mandates. Chiquette can now simply say the rule is the government's decision.
You know, it's a simple choice towards the guest.
The Dirty Goose off U Street has asked customers for vaccine cards since July. They say they haven't run into any major problems because of it.
Strictest in the nation, the New York City vaccine mandate on private businesses going into effect today. Joining me now are two New York small business owners, Michael Carlin, owner of Slope Fitness in Brooklyn, and Steve Stone, owner of Title Boxing Club and New York Fitness Coalition Vice Chairman. Welcome to you both. Michael, let me start with you. We've talked on this program before about what it was going to be like for you to deal with these mandates coming down the pipeline. Here we are. Today's the day.
Patrick showed us the data. The vaccines are working, and they're working well to keep people out of the hospital and to keep people from dying from COVID-19. So we don't need those type of shutdowns, but we do need more people to get vaccinated and boosted. I talked to you already about how we were turning up the DC government mandate for our employees. And that will now include a mandatory vaccine, 3 shots, a 3-shot requirement, without the option of testing out.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.
Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. Fire and hail, snow and vapor, stormy wind fulfilling his word. Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow? Or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a water course for the overflowing of waters? The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. God is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth, and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the sea, and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers.
In the Philippines, they are reeling from the devastation of Super Typhoon Rai, the monster storm hitting with the strength of a Category 5 storm. NBC News correspondent Von Hilliard has that story.
Tonight, at least 375 now confirmed dead in the Philippines. These images showed the wake of one of the country's deadliest typhoons ever, Super Typhoon Rai, sweeping through the southern and central provinces of the country at the end of last week. The devastation only now becoming clear as the search intensifies for possible survivors. At least 50 are still missing. The National Police say more than 500 are injured too.
The typhoon has devastated much of the islands. Many communities that are already struggling to survive now have another hurdle.
The storm deemed a super typhoon. These NASA images showing the more than 150-mile-per-hour winds making landfall as a Category 5 storm and barreling through the country. The scenes horrific.
And this month, more than 100 were killed by a series of rare December tornadoes in Kentucky and surrounding states. One twister cutting a path more than 200 miles long.
The devastation is so severe across such an expanse that we still don't know the toll of the southern and Midwestern tornadoes. Starting the night of December 10th, at least 59 twisters carved through 10 states, a swarm you wouldn't expect 2 weeks before winter.
This should be where the story ends, and once did, until a wild and rare week of extreme weather struck in December. Tornadoes tearing through Kentucky and neighboring states, killing scores and leveling multiple towns. Entire communities left in ruins.
Mayfield will be okay. It's just going to be a long time.
Just 5 days later, an historic storm leaving a trail of destruction stretching from the West Coast to the Great Lakes. Minnesota recording its first ever tornado in the month of December. As 2021 comes to a close, a country weary from a prolonged pandemic braces for what is certain to be another year of extremes.
Well, tonight, nearly 100 million Americans are under weather alerts as another powerful storm system is moving across the Great Plains and Midwest and is threatening to bring strong winds, heavy rain, and another chance of tornadoes. CBS's Carter Evans reports.
With sirens blaring, extreme weather blew into Nebraska, tornadoes touching down. And the pictures from Colorado looked apocalyptic as the front moved
The Lord hath
through.
his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet.
Like a wall of wind. That's how the man who recorded this video described the storm front as it blew into Boulder and knocked down trees in Denver.
The whole house shook.
It became a full-blown 100-mile-per-hour windstorm. Strong winds whipped up flames in the high plains of the central Oklahoma panhandle. It's all part of this week's massive storm that pounded drought-stricken California with torrential rain and flooding, sweeping cars down the LA River and dumping several feet of snow on the Sierra Nevada.
And turning now to the latest in a series of deadly storms across the Great Plains and Midwest. At least 5 people were killed in Wednesday night's dangerous weather, which brought more than a dozen tornadoes, including Minnesota's first ever tornado in the month of December. CBS's Mola Lenghi reports from Heartland, Minnesota.
Hurricane-force winds tore through over 700 miles of the Midwest. In Nebraska, strong winds toppling a moving tractor-trailer. Next door in Iowa, a roof ripped off a library. Somehow the books remained on the shelves. Residents were left to sort through what was left of their homes.
We got power flashes.
In Chicago, 66-mile-per-hour winds reported at O'Hare Airport, tearing limbs off trees and smashing them into car windows. More than 20 tornadoes were reported in the upper Midwest, with Minnesota's first ever December tornado. This after Friday night's 5-state tornado rampage. After the storm, highways were littered with overturned tractor-trailers.
This is an Omega WATCHMAN Media Group production.
So what comes to your minds when I say 2021? Omicron, the Tokyo Olympics, or maybe the COP26 climate summit. Extreme weather events became the new normal this year. There was hardly any country that was left untouched. In our next report, we will take you through the major climate hazards that define 2021 and will unfortunately continue to affect us in the years or perhaps the decades to come. Take a look.
Glacial melt,
sea level rise, wildfires, droughts. 2021 was the year when climate change hit home. The crisis could not be ignored anymore. Among the first victims of rising temperatures are our glaciers. Scientists have warned that the ice shelf of the crucial Thwaites Glacier might collapse within 5 years. This will lead to a rise in sea levels across the world. The trend is not limited to polar regions. In India, Himalayan glaciers are melting away. These glaciers feed nearby rivers. Now the locals are facing a shortage of water.
As the pandemic raged, so did nature's fury.
We're huddled under all the blankets that we have.
In February, a deadly ice storm paralyzed Texas, leaving millions without power. Wildfires continue to ravage the West. Hurricane Ida carved a path of destruction that stretched from Louisiana to New York. And this month, more than 100 were killed by a series of rare December tornadoes in Kentucky and surrounding states. One twister cutting a path more than 200 miles long.
We saw unprecedented weather across the nation. NBC's Al Roker takes a closer look.
2021, another blistering year of climate and weather extremes, from wildfires and drought to catastrophic flooding and hurricanes. Almost no state escaping unscathed. This year seemed to pick up where 2020 left off, with one major exception. 4 years after withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, newly elected President Joe Biden bringing the U.S. back into the fold.
We can no longer delay or do the bare minimum to address climate change.
The deal bringing together world leaders, pledging to do their part to stop the Earth from warming past 1.5 degrees Celsius. Scientists say any warming beyond 2 degrees would be catastrophic. As winter carried on, Texas endured a cataclysmic event when extreme Arctic cold, caused by a breakdown in the polar vortex, sent icy air plunging south, crippling the state's power grid, leaving residents freezing without water and in the dark for days.
We haven't had water for 10 days. For the first couple of days, we were collecting snow and melting the snow.
With the climate changing faster than ever before, what unfolded in Texas may no longer be a once-in-a-lifetime event. This tragedy exposing one of the most fragile parts of our country, its crumbling and ill-fitted infrastructure. In the Northwest, it was sporadic weather patterns connected to climate change that created a once-in-a-millennia heat wave, resulting in some of the highest temperatures ever recorded in the region. Temperatures in Portland, Seattle, and parts of Canada soaring well above 100 degrees. At least 228 people dying in Washington state and Oregon alone.
Electricity went off, and so it's quickly getting warmer and warmer.
Kicking off an unprecedented summer of heat, 2021 will go down in history as the hottest summer on record for the United States. Mega fires in the West burning for months. The Bootleg Fire in Oregon becoming the state's biggest this year, burning more than 413,000 acres. The Dixie Fire becoming the second largest to ever scorch parts of California.
I didn't know where I was, whose house is what, and it was just a wasteland.
We're just grateful to be alive. We got each other.
The 2021 hurricane season, while not as prolific as the record-shattering 2020, was still an overachiever. There were 21 named storms, including 7 hurricanes, 4 of which were Category 3 or higher. Category 4 Hurricane Ida lashing Louisiana, still recovering from last year's 4 landfalls.
We are looking at imminent landfall of this storm.
The deadly hurricane flattening entire communities, leaving millions of people in Louisiana without power, some outages lasting for months. Ida then slashed a path of destruction into the northeast, dumping up to 10 inches of rain in some parts of the region. Several areas seeing one-night all-time record high totals for the month of September. New York City taking a direct hit from the tropical storm, with subways turning into walls of water and floods pushing cars down streets. The storm once again turning deadly when basement apartments were submerged, trapping residents. While the East got too much water, The bone-dry West, in its second decade of extreme drought, finally hit a tipping point. Lake Mead dropping to its lowest level on record ever, triggering severe, unprecedented restrictions over how much water states could use from the connecting Colorado River system, hitting Arizona agriculture the hardest.
The pie is shrinking, and there's going to be less water for everyone in the 21st century.
This should be where the story ends, and once did, until a wild and rare week of extreme weather struck in December. Tornadoes tearing through Kentucky and neighboring states, killing scores and leveling multiple towns. Entire communities left in ruins.
Mayfield will be okay. It's just going to be a long time.
Just 5 days later, an historic storm leaving a trail of destruction stretching from the West Coast to the Great Lakes. Minnesota recording its first ever tornado in the month of December. As 2021 comes to a close, a country weary from a prolonged pandemic braces for what is certain to be another year of extremes. I'm Al Roker, NBC News.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.
Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah.
From Kentucky to Illinois, Arkansas to Iowa, this morning communities are rebuilding after those rare December tornadoes.
The level of destruction we think now is in the billions across Kentucky, and it's going to take us some real time. But we are not broken. We don't break.
With the National Guard, we took in the widespread damage across Kentucky from the air.
It's just utter devastation. And the scope and the scale from this altitude is just, it's just terrible.
The National Weather Service has now classified the main tornado that decimated Mayfield as a powerful EF4, packing winds of up to 190 miles an hour. It was on the ground for more than 2 hours. Experts are now questioning whether these kinds of weather events might become more common.
We get tornadoes in December like we've seen in the last few days. The record warm air mass we've had is a huge factor.
Bob Henson is a meteorologist for Yale Climate Connections who says violent tornadoes might not be more frequent, but their timing may be different.
What is happening is the seasons are getting reshuffled and rearranged. So here we are with a tornado outbreak in December. The same changes might also bring us fewer tornadoes in the summertime. We might not have as strong a jet stream in the summer as the climate continues to warm. So more than really an increase in violence of tornadoes overall, we're seeing shifting both in where tornadoes happen and when they're happening.
This storm is headed your way in the next 10 minutes.
In Kentucky, despite warnings from local meteorologists, the sheer power of this December twister seemed to take many people by surprise. Donna Maceda was driving home from out of state when her daughter Brianna called to tell her the storm was barreling toward their house.
All I could hear was her screaming for me. And Mom, I don't know what to do. And Mom, I'm so scared. Then I didn't know what to say. Like, what do you say?
What do you say when you witness this? This is our first up-close look at the candle factory that was obliterated. More than 100 people were working here. 8 of them were killed.
The only thing I remember after that is I heard all kinds of noises, and the next thing I know, I open my eyes and I'm stuck. I can't move my legs.
So all this concrete had just fallen on top of you.
Literally a wall, like a concrete wall was on top of me.
21-year-old Michaela Emery was among the workers who survived after being trapped under a concrete slab for 6 hours. The death of one of her co-workers nearby haunts her.
It hurts so bad, and there's nothing that I can do, but that was my friend, and that still is my friend.
That is the impact of this tornado outbreak. The scientific reason behind it is less clear.
The burden of Nineveh. The book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. God is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.
To find something recognizable in this pile of debris seems impossible.
Bible.
Yeah. Oh, there's pictures in it too.
A family heirloom brings a moment of comfort, a brief distraction, a reminder of happy memories.
What is it, Mom's purse?
That's her one she was carrying.
Yes.
Yay. Thank the Lord.
Another discovery sharply brings this family back to reality.
Gosh, I got her that purse last Christmas.
Raw grief, the loss of their mother. Her son clings to her purse as if he were holding on to her, and so begins the painful path toward healing. Almost all of Dawson Springs has been destroyed. Search crews went from rubble pile to rubble pile looking for signs of life. Properties are spray painted, either with markings showing families are accounted for or that victims' bodies have been removed.
I'm an Army vet, and I've seen some stuff like this, but I haven't seen stuff like this.
Search and rescue operations continue across Kentucky, including at that collapsed candle factory. More than 70 people in the state are confirmed dead.
Andrea, baby, calm down. Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. We're gonna be okay, Andrea. I promise we is gonna be fine, baby. We is gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine, and we're gonna be out tomorrow, y'all. My birthday is in a couple of hours. It's almost 10 o'clock. Y'all gonna sing happy birthday to me? Happy birthday. Listen, y'all gotta sing happy birthday to me. Happy birthday. It's my birthday. Everybody tell me happy birthday. Almost. On us, y'all. We stuck in the shelter area, Jalen. Okay. Okay, y'all. Woo. Y'all. I ain't never been like nothing like this before now, y'all. This here is something else.
Dakota.
My foot is stuck.
Dakota.
Like I'm stuck underneath this water. Y'all see this?
Dakota.
But and I'm really scared. I'm trying to be cool, y'all, but I'm really scared because where I'm at, I'm like stuck underneath the wall, so like I'll be the last person to get out. But I know we'll be okay. I should have went out because I didn't want my kids to see it. I'm so scared.
Is Dave Lambs out there?
But in other news, y'all see my hair? I got it platinum white. That's what I wanted for my birthday. And I'll be 40. Jalen, I think they're trying to get to us. But I'm really scared that I'll be one of the last people that they get to. But we are going to be okay. Because, and listen, we turning up for, I don't know about y'all, but I'm turning up for my birthday tomorrow in a couple hours. I know Abby and I love you too. Thank you.
Hello.
Shonda. I'm really nervous because my friend was outside sitting in the van and he's not answering the phone at all. Y'all cannot feel my freaking legs. Now, y'all know I cuss. I'm trying not to cuss because maybe God won't get me if I start cussing. But God damn, my feet hurt. So, I'm in Mayfield. I work at the candle factory. And they told us not to move because if we move, it'll cause the stuff to fall more. And we don't want that. But my freaking legs.
Large tornado, large tornado. Lots of debris in the air. It's about to cross I-55. This is I-55. Large tornado about to cross I-55.
Fire and hail, snow and vapor, stormy wind fulfilling his word.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.
tremble thou earth at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob, which turned the rock into a standing water, the flint into a fountain of water. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights.
A powerful earthquake shook northern California this afternoon.
It was 6 miles deep in the Pacific Ocean. The 6.2 magnitude quake struck at about 12:10 this afternoon.
For bad dog, don't go in the glass. Shiteskis. Oh, we got some more over there. It's no bueno.
This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production.